What's good, y'all? Tristan here, and today I'm going to be going over 100 differences between America and Croatia. Whenever I spend a good amount of time in another country, I like to document some of the differences between it and my home country. Some can be really major differences, and others can be just completely silly, random things I find that I think are interesting. Like the first one on this list, which is that the handicap signs in America and Croatia are flipped opposite directions. And I'd like to apologize in advance for going quickly over these things. I can't elaborate on each difference too much just because there's 100 of them and we only got so much time. Let's get into it. 100 differences between America and Croatia. Number 2. So while in Croatia, this green plus sign is to signal a pharmacy, that green plus sign in America is to signal a marijuana shop, like a weed shop. Number 3 is there are so many more bakeries in Croatia than the States. Like literally there's at least one bakery on every block. Number 4, so the traffic lights in Croatia are a bit different. Whenever it's about to go from red to green, like you're stopped and then you can go, it goes red and then it turns yellow for about a second or two, and then it turns green. In the States, it goes immediately from red to green. And likewise, when it's about to stop in the States, it's green, and then it goes yellow, and then red. Well, in Croatia, it's green, and then that green light blinks about, I think it's like 3 times, then it goes yellow, and then it goes red. Number 6 is there's actually no drinking age in Croatia. So in the States, you have to be 21 to buy or consume alcohol, while in Croatia, while you do have to be 18 to buy it, there's actually no legal age for how old you have to be to consume it. 7, so the keys in Croatia, when you're putting them into door, go the opposite way. So we put our keys in with the flat side on the bottom, while in Croatia, all the doors, you need the flat side on the top to stick them in. And number 8 is something I found funny about Croatia, but that is, there seems to be this unwritten rule, or I don't know, maybe it is a written rule, that as long as you put your hazards on, you can pretty much pull over and park anywhere. You can literally stop right in the middle of your lane, and as long as you put your hazards on and you're not there for more than like 10 minutes, like, people seem to be okay with it. I was pulling into my Airbnb like right downtown in the center of Split, and my Airbnb guy's like, oh yeah, there's a bus stop, just pull into the bus stop and I'll come out and I'll meet you. So that's what we did. All these people waiting for the bus around us. Our Croatian Airbnb host came out, helped us get our stuff, spent about 5-10 minutes there getting our stuff into the Airbnb, and then we went and parked. And while we were there, like the buses would pull up, come, get people, and then like go around our car. It's just a totally normal thing there. Now number 9 is that most stores are closed on Sundays or have extremely limited hours. We're talking like open at 10, close at 3. Now number 10, and this one really surprised me, but that is that most cars there, like normal advertised cars, will take diesel and not gasoline. In the States, only like big old trucks will take diesel. Additionally, most of their cars are manual or like stick shift instead of automatic. And if you get your license in an automatic car, like driving an automatic car, you're actually, it's illegal to drive a manual car. You need another license for that. But if you get a license for a manual, then you're fine to drive an automatic. Additionally, and this is quite smart, but that is if you haven't had your license for at least 3 years, then there are certain models of cars you're not allowed to drive, like really like nice cars or like, sports cars, like those types of cars. And last one about cars, but that is that their license plates there's the first 2 letters in it signal which city the car is from. So like all the cars in a certain city pretty much will have the same first 2 letters on their license plate. Now talking a bit about their coffee culture. So one, whenever you order a cup of coffee in Croatia, it usually comes with also with a little glass of water. And additionally, going for coffee is like a completely different thing in Croatia than it is in the States. In the States it's like grab a coffee, 20 minutes, sit down, have a coffee. No. In Croatia, getting a coffee is a 2 to 3 hour social event. You might have a couple coffees, very laid back and chill. It's a pretty common thing to do around like the morning brunch time. Number 17 is a bit random, but that is they have, not everywhere, but in some places I noticed they have these like tissue-like toilet paper. So it's like you like pull it out of this like toilet paper dispenser and it comes out like a tissue. It's just like a little square for you to, do your thing. But it's not like a big old roll where you just, pull and fold and yeah, that. And number 18 is that there are markets everywhere. Oh my god, this had to be like the first thing I noticed. Whenever you're walking around any major city there's going to be a market for fruit, market for flowers, market for nuts, oils, or sometimes they're all mixed together. Sometimes you'll see clothing. Like, they just have markets literally every, 2 blocks. And I think it's quite a cool thing, but it's just something I'm not used to coming from the States. In addition to markets, you'll often see just these, standalone little food carts. Not like big old food trucks, that have a bunch of offerings like in the States, but it'll just be something that might sell, one type of nut, or just, little strawberries. The whole cart might be this big. They might just sell popcorn. They just kind of sell, one product, but you'll see them, throughout the streets there. And number 20 is that I actually noticed more people giving to the homeless there. In the States, I rarely see people actually handing a homeless person money, but there, in my first week there, I saw 5 different times where somebody was handing coins to a homeless person. In addition, there are far less homeless people. Actually, I just looked this up, and in the entire country, there are only an estimated 2,000 homeless people, which is less than there are just in the city I'm from in the States. I'm from Austin. It has a population of about 1 million. Number 22, and this is probably more of a European thing than Croatian thing, but that is that so many more people smoke cigarettes. Everywhere I'm going, people are just Like, everyone has a SIG. Now, regarding the architecture there were some things in Croatia that I've never seen here in the States. And one is how all their buildings in their city centers are linked together. I'll show it right here, but just every single, it's like one pretty much giant building that takes up an entire block, and then that building is segmented into different areas. But there's no actual gap between buildings unless if it's like a road. And due to that architecture style, so in the States, like, if you have a business, it's gonna have a street front. Like, you can pretty much see it from the street, from the road, like 95% of the time. But in Croatia, that is not the case. So as, like, imagine this is like an entire square block. There's all the buildings on the outside, but then there's actually some areas you can go in, and on the entire inside, there'll be like buildings, stuff, courtyards, entire schools. Like, you have no idea what's in there, but you have to go in through like a little door and like kind of discover what's in there. If you don't know what's in there, then you'll just miss it, and you wouldn't see it if you're just walking down the street. Additionally, their buildings are more commonly built out of stone, where in the States it's more like, I don't know, glass. And their city centers have shorter buildings for the most part. You know, they don't have any like big old skyscrapers like we do in the States. This is largely due to just how much older Croatia is. Like, their cities are thousands of years older than ours, and you can really tell that while they're there. Like, for another example is that their roads are a lot smaller, very narrow. There's less lanes. Like, unless you're going like between cities or like out in the suburbs, or then they built the roads out. But in the city centers, things are real tight. Now, something I thought was funny, and I guess this is due to roads being smaller, but is that you park on the curb often in Croatia. So like, let's say, you know, here's the road, here's the sidewalk, you might just put half your car on the sidewalk. I don't know, I've just never seen that in the States, but yeah, in the States, like, it's often for every single person in the family that's of age to have their own car, while in Croatia it's a lot more common to share, like, have one car that you share with your whole family. But that could also be because public transportation is like used way more there, and it's so much better than it is in the States. Now, food delivery services are usually done on a bike, so you know, you order your food, some kid will be like biking up to you with your food on the back of his bike, while in America it's going to be someone driving up in their car. Things are like more spread out in the States, so you kind of need a car, but in Croatia it honestly makes more sense to just deliver it on a bike. Now, 32 is their grocery stores are often built like a maze, so like you'll walk in, and then like there's you pass by the meat, you pass by this stuff, and you pretty much go through a little maze throughout their grocery store. Well, in America, it's like grid formation, so you know, you kind of pick the lane you want to go in and just go to that aisle. I did see some grocery stores like that in Croatia, but you know, it's only a couple of like the really big ones. The most, like, the common grocery store is more built like a maze, and I've never seen that here in the States. And when you're at the grocery store, you're gonna be bagging your own groceries, because that's just how they do it there in Croatia. Another thing at the grocery store is you actually buy your beer in crates. Like, it looks like this. It's like this big old crate thing. It's not like the cardboard packaging we have in the States. But there's a good reason for that, and that is because they actually pay you to bring back your bottles and recycle. So like, in the States, you know, like recycle them, get rid of them, whatever. But in Croatia, you actually will take the bottles you just drank, put them back in the crate like you just got them from, and then when you're done with it all, you bring that crate back, exchange it, get some money for it, and that's just how things are done there. In addition, they sell those beer crates in like things of 20, where in the States it's 24, and the reason for that is because they don't really have a concept of a dozen there. In the States, we have like a dozen's 12, so like you get 2 dozen beers, 24. Things are just sold in dozen or half dozen. They don't really seem to use dozen as a way of counting there. Like, I didn't see anything sold in a dozen. Like, for example, eggs. We buy eggs in a dozen. In Croatia, eggs are sold by like in 10 in a pack. All right, something more serious is that you don't really wear shorts as common there, or you don't wear shorts in all places in Croatia. It can be considered irreverent there, so you know, you wouldn't wear shorts to like your place of work. You wouldn't wear it to church. You wouldn't wear them often to, I've heard someone tell me that their private college there, you're not allowed to wear shorts to. But one thing I will say about their dress is in Croatia, they dress nice, really nice. Like, you don't see people wearing sweats. They dress much nicer than you see Americans typically dress in. You typically see darker, neutral clothing. You're not going to see, you know, many bright colors. And if you're shopping for clothes or just walking by clothes shops, you're going to see so many mannequins. Oh my god, they have so many mannequins. They're like super detailed. Like, you might see them with hair, with like facial, like look like a real person. You might just see them in different colors, but I don't know, I feel like mannequins are totally out of style in America. Like, you really don't see mannequins in most clothing shops. Something else I noticed when walking the streets there is they have garbage cans just parked right on their sidewalk. So, you know, this is the road, these are all the businesses. They just take their garbage can and they put it like right out front. In the States, your trash is always hidden. It's usually kept like in the back of the restaurant, or you know, somewhere people aren't gonna walk by it or see it. Now, real quick, we're gonna do a little food segment, because you know, food's really different there. So here's some unique food things I saw there that I've never seen in my life before. But the first one is corn on pizza. Seems to be somewhat common. They like putting corn on their pizza. In addition, putting mayo or ketchup on your pizza is pretty common. And they like to put tuna on lots of things that we don't put tuna on in the States. Like, if you have tuna in the States, it's usually only like a piece of tuna. It's really the only way you eat it. Maybe on like a salad, but there, you know, I saw tuna also on pizza. I saw tuna on like many different pastries, and they also freaking love their salami. You'll see salami all over Croatia. All right, 47, tons of cats. cats all over Croatia. 48, when going through a toll road, you get the ticket and then you get to the end of it and you pay. Whereas in the States, you're gonna pay up front, like before you even get onto the toll. Also regarding tolls, there are so many of them in Croatia. Be prepared to go through a lot of tolls. Pretty much every single highway between every single major city in Croatia is a toll. Another one regarding roads is, especially in like the countryside, it seems to be pretty common to go for a walk or a jog on the roadside. So it might be just a one-lane road and you might see someone walking or jogging it. So if you're driving, just gotta make sure you gotta watch out for them. Now 51 is it is not common to wear sandals here. So I was wearing sandals walking around Croatia and I was getting lots of looks. I noticed all these people just kind of like staring at my feet. I had no idea why, but I was talking to this Croatian guy and he was explaining to me that it's really important to be manly in Croatia. Like men are supposed to be manly, so that's like darker clothing. It's a very common haircut to have like a buzz cut, like some sort of military cut there. And sandals are not seen as like that manly macho front that lots of guys try to put on in Croatia. Actually, before I go any further, I did want to address that I had two awesome people help me with this list. I spent hours and hours and hours talking to two guys. One was a hostel owner when I was there, who was actually an Australian who owned the hostel and then been living in Croatia for several years. And the other was a local born and raised Croatian that worked at the hostel. And we spent so much time talking about Croatia, things that were unique to it. Particularly on the second half of this list, a lot of things I say were brought to my attention from them, or if I had questions, you know, they really helped educate me and explain these things to me. So big shout out to them. Thanks, Patrick and Cracker. The last thing I gotta say regarding this whole like manly thing is they're also not nearly as LGBT friendly in Croatia as we are in the States. You don't see as many gay people, not nearly as many people are like out and open about it. It's just way more looked down on there than it is back here. Now number 55, there are money exchanges freaking everywhere there, and I think this is because they use like the kuna, not the euro. So pretty much if you're not from Croatia, if you come from anywhere besides Croatia, you're gonna have to get an exchange, but don't worry because like they're literally everywhere. 56, it is much more common to live in an apartment there than a house. Additionally, if you have a house, it's really common to have your own garden and kind of grow your own fruits and vegetables and some of your own food. When writing numbers, they switch the period and comma. So like in America, it would look like this, while that same number in Croatia would look like this. You can't turn right on red, so in America, stop at a red light, if there's no cars coming, you're good to turn right. Croatia cannot do that. Now, in this whole list, I remain very neutral. I just, you know, state the facts, the differences. I don't sign, I'm not saying this is better, that's better, you know, it's just different. But there's one thing, it's the only thing about Croatia that I just think it is idiotic. It's so dumb. It makes absolutely no sense to me, and this is it. There's stoplights. When you're going to an intersection, you stop in your car. In the States, the light is on the other side of the intersection from you, so you look at it and see it, and you know, see when it turns green. Well, in Croatia, instead of putting the light on the opposite side of the intersection, let's say your car's parked here, they put it on the same side as your intersection. So if you're the first car in line, you either have to stop like a good bit behind the line, and even then, you're looking up as hard as you can to see when it turns green, or you have to freaking like open your sunroof and look at it through your sunroof. Like there were times where like I accidentally pulled up like 1 foot too far over the line and I just couldn't see the light. I was hopeless. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Like even if you're completely good, you stop in front of the line or a couple feet in front of the line, you're still straining your neck looking up just to see when it turns green. I don't get this design at all. Please, someone in Croatia, please tell me why y'all do this. Is there any sort of benefit? Now, another thing I noticed when driving down Croatian highways is they have these big old signs that go over their roads every like 5 kilometers, maybe 10 kilometers, really regularly, and it just says the weather. So you'll just be driving, I'll be like 10 degrees. I don't know why this is, but I don't know. If you're ever wondering what the weather is and the temperature on your car's broken and the temperatures on your phone's broken and yeah, you can't find out what the temperature is, keep on driving and look up and you'll see a little temperature sign, you know, coming up soon. More differences. So it's not nearly as common to spade or neuter your dog there. They have some drinks here that are like, I've never heard of in the States. I'm gonna absolutely butcher the names on how to pronounce these, so please forgive me. But one is mixing red wine with Coca-Cola. It's called Bambus? I don't know. The next one is mixing white wine with sparkling water. It's called Jamist, I think. Jamist? Is that how you say that? And then they have this drink called Rakija, which is like the drink of Croatia. It's like a strong vodka. They love it there and they drink it all the time. Actually, it's kind of another thing about Croatia difference is it is common to take a shot before breakfast or before your lunch. I've been told it's not as common with the younger people, but like the older generation or like the traditional people, more country, it's really common to do. And when they do it, they take a shot of Rakija. This is a real Croatian thing. Like this is like what Vegemite is to Australians. This is what that is to Croatians. Fun fact about it, some people like in the older generation there think it heals pretty much everything. So like, oh, you're sick? Oh, take a shot. Like, oh, you got a scratch in your arm? Like, you know, put some Rakija on it. It's kind of like an old wives' tale, but it's like some people still kind of believe it. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. Now something else is to serve alcohol in Croatia, you don't need any sort of license or take any course or any of that to be able to serve alcohol. But you have to shit in a cup twice a year if you want to work with food or alcohol. That's right, it seems crazy, but like the owner of the hostel, who was also the owner of a bar, was telling me how like his employees, he had to give them this little cup, they have to like poop and then like spoon their poop into this cup and give it to doctors twice a year, so that they're able to hand beers out. They say they do it to make sure everyone's healthy, like, I don't know, I guess they examine your poop and make sure you're healthy, but yeah, I don't know, to me that seems a little bit invasive. Now when talking to that same guy, he brought up a point, and like I did notice this when I was there, but he just, I don't know, said it like in a funny way, shut up. But he said, ever since I've been living in Croatia, I haven't seen any fats, blacks, or gays. Just meaning that Croatians are typically pretty fit, pretty slim. You don't really see many fat Croatians. There aren't really many black people that live in Croatia, and yeah, I didn't really see any gay. There's just, if you are gay, you're not out about it. Also, when talking to that guy, he really gave me insight, because he was a business owner there, of how business runs in Croatia, because it's so much different than in America. He was telling me how insanely complicated the tax system is. Like, you need an accountant in Croatia to pretty much do anything. Like, he says just to pay his payroll, he needs an accountant. The point of sales systems in Croatia, like the little thing you put your card in, or you know, like the cash registers, those things are directly connected to the like accountant governing system of Croatia. So there are authorities from that organization who can come to your business at any time, look in your cash register, and if you are not exact to the nearest dollar, or I guess it's kuna, but if you're just like a little bit off, they can fine you, they can shut down their business. They're just absolutely incredibly strict about taxes and accounting and all that there. Some other things in this realm is like if you employ a student, like someone who's in school, like high school, you have to pay that school a 17.5% tax of whatever wages he makes. The logic behind this is like you're using their student, so since you're using their student, you should be paying them for that. So that is another interesting thing about Croatia. Also, it's illegal for businesses to give things out for free, so like buy one get one free sales, that's illegal. Some more tax stuff is that their GST or sales tax is 25%, which is one of the highest sales tax or GST taxes in the world. But unlike America, that tax is included in the sticker price. So let's say you see something for $100, like it's still gonna cost $100, but 25 of those dollars are going to the government. And another tax they have is a tourist tax. So whatever price you see of a hotel or whatnot, just know it's gonna be a little bit more than that, because if your driver's license or whatever doesn't have that exact city on it, then you're gonna be paying an additional tourist tax. So many taxes, I know, like it's crazy, but I mean, it does pay off. Like for example, there are colleges there, public colleges are free or pretty much close to it. They have free universal health care, so you're not paying for your medical bills. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention about restaurants is happy hour. Happy hour isn't really a concept they have there, like a whole like, you know, drinks are, you know, cheaper for these like couple hours, get you there early. That is not something that they really do or a concept they have in Croatia. Ooh, also tipping. So tipping in Croatia is quite unusual and different. So unlike America, you don't have to tip, like it's not expected. However, it is way more common to tip in Croatia than many other places. So it's just kind of standard norm there. Just kind of like round your bill up to like the nearest like whole amount or whatever seems right. Maybe your bill's, you know, 44 kuna, just round it up to 50, 91 kuna, round it up to 100. It's just really common there to tip. Not like the 20% like in America, but just, you know, round it up to, I don't know, like closer to 10%. Ice is not really a thing they put in their drinks there. Like if they do, it's like 2 cubes of ice. They don't really put much ice at all. And something else I noticed is that bakeries or like anywhere, like takeaway food place, you don't pay until you get your food. So like, you know, you might go up to the counter and be like, hey, can I have this? And usually in the States you would pay, wait 5 minutes, and then you get it. There, they go, they get it ready for you, they make it, whatever, give it to you, and then once they give it to you, then you pay. And speaking of payment, whenever you're paying with a card, they're gonna ask you what type of card is it, and at first I was saying debit or like, you know, debit or credit. But what they're asking is if it's Visa or Master or like Discover or something like that. And not all the time, but pretty often, whenever you're paying with a card, you will get 2 receipts. One receipt will be like for like the card or the bank, and then one will be like the order of like what you got. I don't know, I didn't really get it, but it's common to get 2 receipts. 87, we're getting to the end, guys, but that is that their beaches there are often not like fine sand beaches. They are like more like rock or stone pebble beaches. Still incredibly beautiful, just pointing it out. Additionally, so when you're driving, so many tunnels. It's very like hilly, mountainous terrain there, and so whenever you just go through tunnel, through tunnel, through tunnel whenever you're going through cities, and that really surprised me. And then something that gave me a good chuckle was that they don't seem to have much safety standards for construction, so you might want to be a little bit careful. Like, I was in Dubrovnik, and they're like digging this big old hole in the ground. It's like a 6-foot hole in the ground, and whenever they were done for the day, they would just take like a little piece of like plywood, like this big, and just put it over. And if you're driving there, expect aggressive drivers. I found Croatians to be quite aggressive with, it's just a driving style. Like you'll just be going, they're about to turn out, and they'll almost hit you as they turn out. Like they're just really aggressive. Also, if you hear them honking, don't necessarily think that it's you. They just like to honk a lot there. At first I thought everyone was honking at me, but I was like, I'm doing nothing, like I'm stopped at a red light. I'm not doing anything wrong. And then I just realized it's just how they are there. They just honk a lot. But all that being said, they are so nice to people at crosswalks. Like if you are anywhere near a crosswalk or about to go, they will stop for you. So they're not aggressive at all in that respect. And if you're there, you should use their crosswalks, because in Croatia, they actually pretty commonly give out jaywalking tickets, and they're not cheap. It's about 300 to 400 kuna, which is about $60. Real quick before we wrap this video up, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and you know, hey, if you've made it this far, please give it a big old thumbs up, because you know, these videos, these 100 ones take a lot of time to make. Oh, and one more thing I want to say is I could do a part 2 to this video if I want, not 100, but you know, some more. So if this video gets 500 likes in the first 3 days of posting it, then we'll post a part 2. Alright, so next one is when at a restaurant, you actually have to flag down your waiter. They might just not come up to your table and like approach you all the time. Gotta do a little, little wave and just get their attention. And then 95 is that small talk with strangers just isn't quite as common. You don't see a neighbor and just kind of wave at them, nod at them, smile, say hi. It's just kind of like, if you don't know them, just stay to your own business. Another thing is if you're going into a stranger's house, or not a stranger's, but if you're going into someone's house, it's polite to take off your shoes. And a totally random one, I don't know how this is on this list, but is there nacho cheese Doritos, like the standard Doritos, come in these like orange bags, or in the States they come in red bags, and I think they did have red bag ones, but I think they were like spicy or I don't know, something like that. In Croatia, they have a holiday called St. Nick's Day. It's a little bit before Christmas time, and I believe it's December 6th, and pretty much what happens is like you put treats in like the kids' stockings, or I don't know, St. Nick comes and like puts treats in the kids' stockings, but yeah, we don't really have that in the States. And regarding Halloween, they don't really do Halloween in Croatia, like there's no trick-or-treating, but there is this, it's like a comparable holiday in February, is this carnival where the kids go and they trick-or-treat. And then lastly, number 100 is that there is a much larger difference between the older generation and the younger generation in Croatia than there is here in the States. It ranges from beliefs, culture, ability to speak English, religion. Like I think a lot of it is due to the war there. Like they grew up before the war, they had more exposure to the Soviet Union, and then now, I don't know, the world's so much more integrated. I don't know, lots of reasons for it, I'm sure. If you want to see any of my other videos, you can check them out right over there. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Toodle-doo, y'all. See y'all in the next video. Psh.